Tri-State Wrestling presents Night of Champions, June 25th at the Eagles Lodge in Vincennes. Every title in the company will be on the line. Will new champions be crowned, or will the reigning champions reign supreme? The main event features the #1 contender for the TSW World Heavyweight title, Will Bray, taking on the champion Zach Hogan in an I Quit match. Will this be the end of Hogan's reign, or will once again he find a way to steal the victory and come out on top in the biggest event of the summer? As always, there's no need to get dinner beforehand. The Eagles will have concessions on hand. So bring the family and enjoy a night of indie wrestling and family fun. Doors open at 5:30 for a special live podcast with 10 Count Blog. At 6:30, witness the TSW Hall of Fame ceremony where 5 people will be inducted. The show kicks off at 7 with the Jesse Meredith Memorial Battle Royal. Tickets are $5 for and under free. So come on out to the Vincennes Eagles June 25th for TSW Night of Champions.
It's 10 Count Blog.
Hello and welcome to the 10 Count Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Tiller. Wherever you are and however you're listening, thanks for making us a part of your day. Before we go any further, we are fan and listener supported. We bring this podcast to you for free every Saturday. Check us out on iTunes and SoundCloud. Subscribe and get the latest podcast downloaded to your phone every week. While you're at it, go ahead and rate us on iTunes. That's the easiest way to support 10 Count Podcast. Rating us helps us grow our audience and hopefully attract some sponsors. You can also visit our website, 10countblog.wordpress.com. We post every podcast there, as well as some really cool blog entries. This week, check out our video with Johnny Watts and Blaine Black making our predictions for TSW Night of Champions. You can also check out our social media and podcast page. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribe on YouTube. You can also check out some of the podcasts that inspire us to make 10 Count Podcast great. And last but definitely not least, be sure to check out our local indie promotions page. We've provided links to some of the area's hottest indie promotions. That's all at 10countblog.wordpress.com. This week's guest is a man who recently had a change of heart. I'm speaking of the artist formerly known as the Don Tony V. He now goes by Shawn Franklin. Story goes that Shawn decided he was tired of being a bad guy at TSW Tag Team Warfare. He teamed up with Big T Thomas Moore for the Tag Team Warfare match. Some of the best tag teams in the company were in that match. They had a good showing, but ultimately came up a little bit short, but he's planning a return to the ring very soon, and we're excited about that. Shawn talks about his experience in the local indie scene, and that includes highlighting some of the most brutal matches he's been a part of. And not to be rude, but Shawn, much like me, is a bigger guy. He talks about some of the challenges that people of our stature face when it comes to being involved in a sport that requires a fairly high level of athleticism. He brought along another friend of the show, Michael Madrox, who you'll hear a little bit later on, talk about some of the rivalries that they've had over the years. Before we jump in, we would be remiss if we didn't at least mention the biggest news out of wrestling this week, and that's that Roman Reigns received a 30-day suspension for a violation of WWE's wellness policy. That leaves many of us scratching our heads and wondering what's next for him. We may not know what happened or what he did to get himself suspended, but I think we can all agree that it wasn't something that's becoming of a man who's looking to be the face of a company. Tell us your thoughts on Roman Reigns' suspension on our Facebook page. I'm going to make sure that we give our friends at Rollick a plug. They've allowed us to use Snorkeling into Oblivion as the official theme song for the 10 Count Podcast. Be sure to head on over to Facebook, give them a like, and take a minute and download their latest album. They're giving it to you for free. And if you're in the Vincennes, Indiana area today, June 25th, around 2 p.m., go check out their event, the Rollick Frolic, at the Vincennes Riverfront Pavilion on 2nd Street. Lots of great bands scheduled for that show. So allow me to make you an offer that you can't refuse. Here's our conversation with Shawn Franklin.
Promotional consideration provided by...
Hey everybody, join us for Rollick Frolic, Saturday, June 25th at the Riverfront Pavilion in Vincennes from 3 to 11 p.m. It's going to feature 9 bands, including Neil Young, Bob Dylan, John Mellencamp, wait, I'm sorry. I got that. We're all mixed up with a show that's going on out in California, but hey, we've got some great local talents, so join us for Rollick Frolic on Saturday, June 25th.
Bands, beer, and food. Rollick Frolic, June 25th, 3 to 11 in Vincennes.
I'm Dave Parman. I promise you.
Shawn Franklin on the 10 Count podcast today. Shawn, I'm so glad to have you here. How are you doing?
Great.
Good. Glad to hear it. How was the drive down? I know you came a long way to be on the podcast.
Oh, it's one of those drives that you kind of get sick of after a while, but it's worth it in the end.
That's Vincennes to Terre Haute and vice versa. So, Shawn, talk a little bit about how you got into wrestling. Talk a little bit about, getting into the business, actually, but also, did you grow up a fan, anything like that?
I can remember wrestling being a huge part of my life since I was a little kid. I remember what actually made me want to be a wrestler was NWA used to run shows at the Hoosier Dome before it was like, RCA Dome and all the other stuff it is now. And they'd rent out the little convention centers. And I remember the first time that I seen Vader, he was wearing the Mastodon mask. And from that point on, it scared me to death to see that something that huge. And it just enthralled me in the same skill that I was like, I need to be, that's what I want to do with my life. And I've just been a fan ever since. Got to see WrestleMania in Indy where Hogan wrestled Sid. Another amazing match. Flair versus Macho Man was on the card. Just to see those two work was just unbelievable. So yeah, I've always kind of been a huge fan of wrestling, so that just made me want it even more. Crossroads Championship Wrestling was doing shows locally in my town where I'm from, and I tried to get in when I was 18 to wrestling, but the promoter was real shady at the time. He basically trained everybody for free, but then when I came in and a friend of mine, he wanted to charge us almost $1,000 a piece to train, and I thought that was just kind of shady at best. So I always kind of had the dream but didn't really have a way to attack it at that moment, so I just kept my ear to the grindstone. And then lo and behold, I met Michael Madrox's ex-girlfriend, and she was like, well, my boyfriend actually ex-boyfriend wrestles for a company, and they're always looking for people, let me get you in touch with him. I went and seen an ICW show, I think it was, and met him on the outside, talked, and pretty much went to training, and he started training me along with Toxic and a few other CWF people, and it was just on from there.
Wow. And so it sounds like you had an interesting journey. What's it like getting to know Michael Madrox? Of course, he's been on the podcast, and he's actually sitting right here.
Hi, people!
Yeah, and so he's the CM Punk to my Colt Cabana.
Right. Special guest host, baby.
Yeah, anyway. So what's it like getting on the ground floor of, meeting this guy and actually getting to live your dream?
It was honestly a chance of a lifetime, really, because at that point I was already pushing, 25, 26 at the time, so I knew that if it didn't happen this time, it probably wasn't going to happen. So he's like, come on out, we train on Sundays. I show up, there's probably, I'd say at least 10 guys in a small little garage at the moment in the just north side of Terre Haute. You wouldn't even think that there's a ring in this place. And we went to work, and every Sunday I was there. And then it went from every Sunday to pretty much every day that I'd call him up, and he'd be like, hey, you want some ring time today? I'd be like, well, yeah. And so we went from training on just Sundays to pretty much every day. And he would just get me in the ring, and he would literally beat the crap out of me for hours on end. And honestly, I couldn't get enough of it. It was realizing the most adrenaline-based drug you've ever had in your life, and you just wanted more and more of it. and I honestly I owe my entire career to him, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here, honestly.
Madrox, you want to put your thoughts in on that?
I'm trying to hold back tears right now. I'm really emotional and my nipples are hard, so please continue.
All right. So one of the things I think one of the things that I wanted to ask you about.
He called you fat.
Oh my
He
gosh,
did.
I did not.
It's all right.
I'm a big guy myself, and anybody who knows me knows that I'm a big guy.
But you called him fat.
I did not call.
He did call me an elephant in the room.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, so what's it like being training and knowing? And for me, I've faced that stigma. People look at me, they go, "Oh, you're trying to be a wrestler, or you're training in a wrestling ring." What's that?
Right.
What's that like? For you anyway.
Honestly, you have to prove yourself more than just like a normal person coming in. Same way with a female wrestler. If we ever get female trainees, I always tell them, as much as he does, you actually have to work 10 times harder than a male does if you're a female wrestler. And I mean, that's just the way the business is, because guys in our business don't respect female wrestlers as a whole a lot, because they think if they're not gonna, they just want to scoot by on their looks. Well, no, like independent wrestling, women in independent wrestling have to know how to work. Like it's not, they can't just get over on their looks. It's not the WWE where you can be a supermodel and you're getting paid a multi-million-dollar contract.
Well, and you never know when you're going to walk into a situation where you might actually have to work a guy as well.
Yeah, exactly. That's huge on the indie scene. You guys touched on it on one of your podcasts about Lucha Underground and stuff, and
That was my podcast.
that might have been yours.
Most viewed podcast.
But yeah, where you're seeing a lot more of that. Joey Ryan is another candidate where him and his fiance at the time, they work the tag team matches, or they work each other. You see it a lot more. So yeah, they have to be at a certain level tougher. For me, with my weight, people look at it like there's no way that he's going to be able to hang with us in the ring. Well, in every other aspect in the world, I shouldn't be able to do what I do. But because my passion is so heavy for it, and I pushed myself to get to the level that I'm at. So,
and I've seen you work, and I know that you can hang with anybody. Recently at TSW, you had a shot at the AWA Memorial title against Benny Bray, and that was a fun match to watch. Talk a little bit about working with some of these guys and what you have to do to stay motivated.
It's about the competition for me. Getting to work some of the people that I've worked has just been outstanding. Because like I said, it come from watching it on TV as a dream of mine to actually getting to work. I have nothing but respect for everybody in TSW. They all work really hard to better themselves, and just like every other promotion I've been in, there's always this level of trying to be better than just normal. Some of the people that I've wrestled that I've enjoyed wrestling, Bareback comes to mind. We could carry on for 6 more months or 6 years, and I would still have fun matches with him. Sad thing is, I enjoy teaming with this guy sitting here, or me and him going toe-to-toe and beating the hell out of each other. I mean, because either way, it's just some of the best matches I've ever had has been against him, because we know each other so well. We just go out and mesh, and we know that we're there to put on a show, and that's what we do. I owe Fuzz Malachi so much. My first title in TSW, I actually won off him. And that was a lot at the time, because I was freshly new to TSW, and Barry wanted me to hold the title, and Fuzz had been there since its inception, so for him to be okay with him passing the torch to me meant a lot, and I will be grateful for that forever, because that was my first ever title, and basically cemented into me that I had finally made it am able to live out my dreams. But there's a couple guys that I would love to work. Zach Hogan is one. Zach's phenomenal. He's got that classic kind of style, but yet he brings a lot of the new school wrestling. Benny was a lot of fun to work. I don't really like wrestling smaller guys too much because of the whole I'm bigger kind of role, but I mean, Will Bray would be another fun one to work. There's just a lot of guys that I haven't had the opportunity to step in the ring with at TSW that I feel that would be a lot of fun. Wrestling Robert Stanley was a good time. TSW has grown in the 4 years that I've been there. That's for sure. Talent has just gotten far better. So, other than that, trying to see who I would want to wrestle and is just whoever they want me to put in. Matt Diamond, we had a match. He was scared to death, just scared. And I was like, hey, go out there and put it on the line. Okay, this is your chance. I was like, I've already proven myself here. This is your chance. And he went out and gave me probably one of the stiffest matches other than wrestling him that I've ever had. And it was just unbelievable to watch him grow just in that matter of time.
And I think there's something to be said about TSW, but what other companies are you working for now? I know it's kind of difficult to work at the moment with your foot being in a boot, but you've not just worked TSW, you've worked a lot of different indie promotions around the area.
Yeah, I'm currently also wrestling for New Wave Pro out of Terre Haute. I started in CWF, which we're looking to get back up and running, I've done a few other promotions, ICW. But yeah, the caliber of wrestling in this area has grown leaps and bounds since when I started. There's a lot of good talent. So, people that are looking to get out, it's not hard to find a decent promotion to work for, let alone I encourage people that are wrestling fans to go out and check out these other local promotions because there's some exciting stuff going on. New Wave Pro just had Tommy Dreamer there a couple months ago, and that show was just from top to bottom was just spectacular. To have somebody like the status of Tommy Dreamer come in, and be able to get knowledge from him, talk to him, was just amazing. Abyss was there a couple months before that, I actually talked to him about, character-wise, making adjustments to character, to have these guys that are in the business as far, to where they're at in their, stages of wrestling is good for anybody, really, to be able to learn from. I would love to be able to see TSW, bring in some of these guys to kind of help out, but, with it being charity-based, which I absolutely love, it's kind of a lot harder to do that. But I wouldn't trade TSW for anything. TSW will always be my home other than, where I started. So, I take a lot of precedence with TSW, and I enjoy a lot of what they do, even though they kind of get a bad rap sometimes because of certain people's egos. But I don't appreciate that at all because I know what we do, and it was never. It's never been about pay for me. It's been so if I can do what I love and I can help out other people, then that's a win for me, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to go back to what you were talking about earlier about, getting out and supporting these indie promotions that are in the area. I don't think people realize, even without Tommy Dreamer and Abyss and some of these guys coming in, the level of talent that we have in this area. You look at Sam Knight. He's a great performer, been in WWE tryouts. He's on his way. Guys like Tracy Smothers, who have been here and been there and done it. So, it's amazing to me to think that there is this class of wrestling talent in this area, and the fact that all these guys that I know and actually get to hang out with, get to work with these guys, it's amazing to me.
Madrox can tell you as well. GT Vega was probably one of the best prospects we had in Terre Haute for a while. I mean, he's done stuff with WWE, but to watch him work is phenomenal. I know he's been to TSW a bunch. Teddy King is another one that's just unbelievable. You got Congo Kong that wrestles for Global Force, Jeff Jarrett's promotion that is around this area. I mean, all these guys, are cutting their teeth, around this area. And the level that we get to see around here is phenomenal. And that only betters your promotion if you can, get a hold of these guys, because they do have a lot to offer. But, as far as talent in companies, I mean, the sky's the limit, and it's all on how bad you want it. I mean, you could be the worst wrestler on the card, but if you're booked with, guys that have a love for this business and want to help out, then you could have 5-star matches with anybody. Ric Flair's done it for 30 years. That's how he made his living in NWA. I mean, he'd come in, work the small town promotion guy, and put him over like he's the greatest wrestler of all time. So with your Sam Knights, with your Teddy Kings, with all these guys that have this experience, you have them coming in wrestling your guys, it's only going to make your roster 10 times better because they want to get to their level.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's back up a little bit. We talked a little bit earlier about how Madrox here kind of got you into the business, and we had a story on our podcast with the Juggernauts about a couple of promos that went out and some really dark stuff. And so we're going to jump into some stories now. I guess this is the storytelling section of the podcast. Okay. But I want to know about the horror promo because you guys are sitting here talking about it. Now, you didn't even know it was happening when it happened.
No, I was actually at work at my shoot job when the horror movie, or the horror promo as it's been called, was being shot. And then I get a message from Madrox saying, hey, you need to check Facebook because something brilliant has just been posted. Okay, these were a series of things leading up to the infamous dog collar match that has been the highlight of my career. And he goes, hey, I shot this really dark promo. You need to check it out. I go, okay. So I get home, and my wife's like, have you watched it yet? I go, no. I was like, hang on a second. So I sit down and I pull up Facebook, and here's my wife tied to a chair. I go, well, this is going to be interesting. So then I watch as he literally, I've never seen a side of Madrox like this before. I take that back. Only once have I ever seen it, and it wasn't even wrestling related. And
you care to tell that story later?
Right. And then I watch as he proceeds to tell my wife that he's going to burn her alive in the house that her mother died in, and I'm just like open mouth, just like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening right now. But I'm so enthralled by it that I'm just like, it's like that proverbial train wreck where it's like it's so bad, but you just don't want to turn away from it.
There was nothing bad about that. It was all.
it was probably the best promo I've ever seen. But I legit open mouth, was just in shock, and then I just started chuckling, and I don't know if that makes me probably just as sick as this guy, but I started laughing, and she goes, that was just some really dark stuff. Why are you laughing at that? I go, because honestly, that just set our match over the moon. I go, it don't matter what else is on the card. Our match is over. Okay? And then that's when the fun stuff really started to happen, because then it just blew up. Okay? I'm talking every good heel wants that white hot heat where it's just like silent, the crowd doesn't know what to think. And we got that off a promo to where Facebook just died. Okay. I got people calling me, messaging me, asking if my wife has ever been let go of the out of the house that she was in, or if she's actually burned alive. Madrox, you got what, hate mail? I think for
I got
years.
family disown me, friends on Facebook. I got calls from the cops actually. Right. That was the highlight. Waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning, having the sheriff department calling your house to make sure everything was okay.
I think it actually got shut down from Facebook. I don't know if we can actually. I don't know if has it been posted.
View it on 10 Count Vlogs page.
Okay.
It's on Facebook still. They try to report it.
Okay,
but
that's
there was
right.
no nudity, so they can't do crap.
That's right. Well, if you've missed it, you can go look at it.
They didn't show me from the waist down in the video.
Right. On the 10 Count Vlog. But yeah, that was a fun time. The dog collar match. We segued into the dog collar match.
Can I just chime in 2 cents right here? That is why you never send me a promo video challenging me while you're sitting in your damn car.
I know.
I come back, guns blazing, while you're just sitting there in your car like, oh, look at me.
Well, okay.
My phone's got a front-facing camera. Look at me.
Right. To be fair, I thought it was going to go, back and forth a few times before it just went to epic death.
You should have known better.
Kind of one of those 0 to holy shit moments.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, wow, we took a left turn and we didn't come back. But in that time, if you watch some of the matches we had beforehand, it was all leading to, this is the character that I wanted to bring out. Like, I wanted that evil because at that time he was in the height of his, I'm going to wear the tightest spandex I can and be a boy band member.
There's nothing wrong with the boy band. Screw you. Screw Blitz. I'm done with this stuff. You guys respect the boy bands now or get out of my life.
I'm just saying. So I wanted that monster that was known as Michael Madrox, the real life serial killer. I wanted that going into the dog collar match. I didn't think that the dog collar match was going to be a scientific WrestleMania 3 Steamboat Savage thing. It was going to be legit death between me and him. Like he said,
I won.
He did. The only way this feud's ever going to end is if we legit die. I think it's going to be. He said it. I mean,
Powerbomb through steel chairs. I won.
You did, yeah.
I won that match almost as quick as I won the most listened to podcast from 10 Count Blog.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
3 days.
3 days. Yeah. Yeah. That was a fun ending. Because he called it probably about. We had talked about it, and then he was like, "Well, I don't think we're going to do that." So then, halfway through the match, where we're both concussed and not really thinking very smart at all, he goes, powerbomb spot. Oh, shit.
That was the first time this guy's ever been on the ropes.
Yeah, I was like,
his butthole was puckering the whole way down. Like, if there was a little turd coming out in there from a gut shot earlier in the match, it got
it got sucked right back up. Yeah, I mean, I'm a very large person, and I should not be anywhere near a rope, let alone climbing on it. So when he called the powerbomb spot, I'm like, oh, shit. All right, here we go. So I perch myself on the second, and he goes, I'm powerbombing you. I go, this will end one of two ways in my head. One, we're going to land it. It's going to be spectacular. We're going to get the response that we want. Two, I'm going to land on my neck, and we're going to be taking a hospital trip tonight.
You would have got the response either way, though.
Yeah, I would have. We would have, yeah, because I was probably the most hated person in TSW at that time. So, yeah, I probably got the response either way. But that was honestly the best ending ever because second to none, that was the one where we literally had the crowd counting the 1, 2, 3 with you, and that's probably the greatest high you'll ever experience in your life as a wrestler. When they literally are so loud that you can't hear yourself think, and they're counting 1, 2, 3 along with the pin, and the place erupted when he won.
Tight spandex and boy bands. Over.
Yeah. I mean, that's what gets you over.
No
right?
flips, just shaking the hips, baby.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So that brings up another point we talked about earlier, and you mentioned storytelling and making these stories actually have a culmination and get to a point where it gets to the craziness, like a dog collar match. Talk a little bit about the build up to that and why it's so important to have a story like that.
I tell people all the time, the new era of wrestling is scary for me. It's a place that really just frightens me because there is no storytelling. If you look back at 70s and 80s wrestling, even early 90s with the NWO and all that, there was a story going that whole time, okay? And the story is what brought you in. Do you think it would have mattered, say, Sergeant Slaughter versus Hogan when Sergeant Slaughter was a turncoat and Hogan was still super American? You think it would have mattered if all they did was go out there and do flippy stuff and just do spot after spot after spot? No. Sergeant Slaughter came in and basically denounced America, spit on the flag of all things, and then you had the hero come in as Hogan and annihilate him that whole time. Where you had, there's the story was there and it made people believe. Wrestling today is they're getting away from the story because it's not. I guess with the whole Vince McMahon coming out and spoiling it, I'll go ahead and say spoiler alert now. With the whole wrestling's a work kind of thing, it's a gimmick. You kind of killed the believability about it. But there again, Ring of Honor was epic for having decent stories, and now they've even went as far as it's just how many moves can we fit into a match?
Yeah, you look at like the Young Bucks and the super kick counter as of late. What was it? They got it to 51 or something like that.
Yes.
There's no story to it anymore. It's more just spot. Yeah. And I think, unfortunately, where you see that the most is the indie promotion for themselves, and they feel like if they do these giant spots, they're going to get noticed. But, for my money, I want to see a good story told.
Right. Well, okay, it's just like going and paying money to go see a movie. You want a story being told to you, or what's the point of seeing the movie?
Blood.
Right. I mean, but there again, wrestling's the same way. Why pay money if there's not going to be a story being told to you?
Breast.
Well, we don't get that lucky around here, okay?
You don't.
Well, we could talk about the...
Yeah, let's not.
Infamous.
I love chicken breast.
But
barbecued,
yeah. But no, I mean, some of the best matches that TSW's had has been a story-based match. I mean,
I was going to ask you, talk about the story leading up to the dog collar match, because you guys obviously didn't start at dog collar match.
Oh no, we've had
that whole part. You went into Hogan and sat.
I did.
I'm just like, that's not the question.
God, leading up to that, well,
it all started with the Main Street Mafia.
That's like when you came to TSW and then I came in. Yeah, that's when it started. The Main Street Mafia. He was a part of it. He was not a part of it.
I left the Mafia to be a boy band.
Yeah.
Then we started feuding, and I didn't like him. And then this fucker hangs me with a chain. You don't do that.
I did.
Especially when I look this good. You don't do that.
Okay, well, to be fair, you gave me a concussion that night, too. And I wasn't thinking clearly.
I gave him 6 Samoa Joe sick kick that night.
Yeah.
That's what he gets for running at me.
I did.
Kicked him so hard, I flew up in the air off his chest, and we both landed. He landed first, and then I landed, and it sounded like an explosion. I thought the ring was going to break. I held my butthole closed. It was so scary, but it was so good.
It was pretty intense.
That's
I'm not
a
gonna
big
lie.
man hitting the ring.
Yeah.
And I'm a big man hitting the ring right after that. And it's just like bouncy. And there's like waves everywhere. I'm pretty sure sweat caused a tsunami in the front row. This woman was like, ah! And sprayed with juices. It was just, you had to be there.
That was perfect time for the baby effect.
Yeah. No. Our feuds. God, man, we've had so many matches to where the only thing left to do was the dog collar. I mean, we've been in street fights. We've been in last man standing matches. We've been in just
To sum it up, really,
ridiculousness.
Barry wanted a good match, and he knew we could do a good match because he had nothing else for us to do. So we just ran with it and did a little string of matches. The build up to him hanging me, which incited the promo, which incited the dog collar for their big show, and we went from curtain jerker
to main event. In like a span
as soon as we pulled up, got out of the car, Steven's like, "I hate you guys. You guys are main event tonight." We're like, "No."
Yeah.
That's a long wait. For anyone that doesn't wrestle, sitting in the back before a show is the worst part of the day.
That's why, that's why when they're like, hey, we want you to be the champion, you have to go, I don't really want to, but
There's a reason I haven't held a TSW title in 4 years.
Because, we could have a discussion about this for hours. The belt is a prop. We get that. But it also means the company has total faith in you to make the company better.
And that's an honor within itself, but sometimes that responsibility, I imagine, becomes a little bit
of a bore.
A bore.
I have ADHD. I'll be the first to admit it. You have me sitting down for 3 hours before a show. Everyone in that locker room's getting chopped. I'm pinching some butt cheeks. There's some nipple twisting going on. It's bad.
You have to entertain yourself because it just gets the boredness just gets horrible. But no, I mean, yes, it is a huge honor for a company to put that much faith in you. But then again, you're like, hey, you're the TSW heavyweight champion, so guess what? You're going on last. Oh, man. All right, so I got to sit here the whole time. So, I mean, so that's when these wonderful road stories that we have come into play, to where we just come up with the most random stuff to do to kill time. Like the abortion.
Oh, gosh.
the abortion in the Petersburg dressing room.
And this is something we talked about, and just for reference for all of our listeners, this is not an actual abortion.
It's not
Is this going to need a parental advisory warning?
Yeah, it's probably going to need one.
I think I should be a new co-host.
It's just random, just dumb stuff. Like the night we came home with the dead guy's leg. I mean...
Okay, yeah, I gotta know this story.
Barry used to work at a nursing home.
Yeah.
Okay? And this guy passed away, and his family was going to throw everything away because they didn't want anything to do with him.
Yeah.
Barry saw a fake leg sitting in this guy's room, and he's like, Madrox.
He did. He
Barry snatched his leg up, brought it to me. I took it home, gave it some beers. Still got it. I have a dead man's fake leg. With the dead man's shoe still on it.
It was so funny because that was that was probably the second match into our hurry up feud for the dog collar match. And he goes, "You want me to hit you with the fake leg?" I was like, "No, I don't want it broken." I was like, "This is epic." So that is the one and only time we've ever been paid for a TSW show, and I think it's the best payment I've ever received as a wrestler, is a dead man's fake leg.
So you guys are sitting here talking about dead fake leg. I'm sitting here thinking Christmas Story and a lamp and...
No, I'm thinking like party favor.
Oh, yeah.
Dance partner.
Best friend in the
Best
entire world.
super kicks ever. I don't even gotta bend my leg.
To the point that we made so much of a point to make it funny that my wife actually buckled it into the back seat so it would be safe on the way home of the drive. There's selfies taken with it on the way home. Just ridiculousness. I mean,
I know what your promo is now.
oh yeah, we're bringing a fake leg everywhere we go.
Would you like to lick my fake leg?
I need a collage of pictures with the fake leg or a video of you guys playing with it.
Oh yeah,
We'll put it on a t-shirt.
oh yeah. That's a new T-shirt idea.
Hashtag dead leg.
Exactly.
All due respects to the dead guy who
Yeah.
died.
Sorry that you.
But your fake
Your
leg's
leg
making
is-
me very happy in the
right.
afterlife, buddy.
Yeah. Sorry that you died, but your leg is living on.
Legacy.
Your legacy.
what you did there.
Exactly.
I like that.
Oh my gosh, the puns.
That was very punny.
That was very punny. So yeah, okay. Back on subject here.
What was the subject?
Yeah, I think so.
No.
The feud leading up. But yeah, there was just random nonsense matches really to get to where we wanted to go. I don't even think the dog collar was really even. This is where we're ending. I think it was supposed to be a strap match between me and you, where it was the fan strap match, but that ended up being me and Blitz instead, with you on the
strap
outside.
match was before the dog collar match.
Yeah, it ended up you were on the outside with Blitz, managing him, and me and Blitz ended up doing the strap match, which, oh my god, ridiculous. Because unlike the one him and Blitz had, there was no clear favorite. So anytime either one of us hit the floor, okay, now he talked about 6-year-old kids beating you senseless with straps. Okay, well, we had adults and 6-year-old kids beating us to death with straps, to where finally, after the third, maybe fourth dump to the ring, outside of the ring, when we got back in the ring, I told Blitz if he dumped me one more time, we were going to shoot. And he wouldn't like it. Because I was done at that point. I was like, if I get hit one more time with a strap, somebody's getting...
Do you know how many little kids I stole that strap from just to hit you with while you weren't paying attention?
I'm sure. But that's, the beauty of it all. But no, like, that one was...
At least you don't have a story about Blitz holding you on the way back to the emergency room after that.
Yeah, right. That's just because he's a big baby. We're just gonna
He's
put
not
that.
a big baby. That's my snuggle bear.
I'm talking about you.
No, I held Blitz.
Yeah.
Blitz didn't hold me.
Right.
Oh.
Blitz is the one that...
That was when Blitz broke his foot.
Yeah.
You're, like,
Oh, okay.
you're mashing two different
yeah.
stuff. Go re-listen to the podcast. Get those views up to 200.
Right?
Too many hours of content from the Juggernauts.
Right. They have a lot. But yeah, and then leading into the dog collar match, honestly, even the day of the dog collar match, we still weren't 100% positive that that's where the feud needed to go.
I was like, I'm gonna hurt this fat piece of shit.
I got okay with it, towards the main event. And we went out there and we just killed it. I know with him, no matter what, I can go out there and we don't even have to plan a match. We can just go out there and feed off the crowd, and it'll be something special that you'll go home and be like, wow, we saw a war tonight. Like, no joke. That match was no exception. Having Tracy Smothers come back and tell us that was the stiffest he's seen people work in a long time meant a lot, even though I Hollywood him. I'm sorry, Tracy.
Yeah. Tracy comes up to congratulate us. He looks at Tracy and goes, and walks away.
I did. Now, mind you, okay, I had a legit gash from a chair shot that pretty much rattled my head, okay? Because, honestly, apparently we went to Denny's. I don't know if you remember this.
Yeah, I remember it.
But apparently we went to Denny's in Terre Haute, and I don't remember a lot from that. But yeah, I Hollywooded Tracy Smothers, and then I had to go and apologize after he looked at me after we're cleaning up the blood, and he goes, "You realize what you just did? You just snubbed a legend." I go, "Oh, shit." So,
And one that's big on respect at
yes,
that.
yes. So Oh, man, I never felt so ridiculous in my life to have to go apologize to him. But, no, I mean, he was cool about it. He goes, I've been there. I've had my head rattled. I am so sorry. I was like, I cannot apologize enough for being...
like a little kid in trouble in the principal's office. Hands behind his back, head down, pouty eyes.
I was like, I am so sorry. I feel like an asshole, But he was cool, and he just was like, honestly, he's like, it was a pleasure watching you guys work tonight because, like, he said it was the most believable thing he's seen in a long time. So when you got somebody that has been around the business that long giving you that kind of support and kind of, boost, it only does something for you, I walked away on cloud nine that night, just like, wow, all right, cool. I have a legend telling me he enjoyed my match. So, that was a plus.
That's awesome. And guys, we're running out of time, but I just wanted to kind of touch a little bit on how people can support you guys and kind of what you got going on here in the next little bit.
I'll go first since I'm the superstar. Facebook, just search Michael Madrox. YouTube, MADR0X812. Twitter, MadroxBSB. Snapchat, MadroxBSB. Instagram, MadroxBSB. Boy bands, bro. Boy bands.
You know what he did, right? As soon as he did the podcast, he went home and added all these.
I believe that.
He only had like one other thing.
No, that's bullshit.
No, you can find me on Facebook. Shawn Franklin, I'm on Facebook. Just YouTube. Different promotions, New Wave Pro. I'm on there. FNX Network. Airs all the New Wave Pro shows. Go give them a like. Check up on some of the archive videos from them. If TSW would get their YouTube page back up.
It's up.
Is it?
Yeah, you're slacking.
Last time I checked, it wasn't. A lot of my matches should be on there. Madrox's YouTube account, I have matches on there. But yeah, those are probably the easiest way to find me. Other than going out and supporting us in local wrestling. I mean, because I'm one that will get out and try to make as many shows as I humanly possibly can. So,
if you only listen to this podcast because you saw featuring Michael Madrox, do not be afraid to buy me a shot at the next show. Just saying.
Or Smoky Links, right?
Our Smoky Links. I'm still waiting for my 10 pounds. You're untied.
You say that.
You did unquestionable things off the mic and off the camera for the... And I still told you that doesn't count. You need the Smoky Links.
Oh, my Lord. And we're out. Special thanks to Shawn for being on the podcast this week. Before we go, let's get to some upcoming events. Tonight, June 25th, at the historic Veterans Memorial Coliseum at 300 Court Street in Evansville, CCW presents Revolution. Tickets are $10 at the door for that event, $5 with military ID. Kids 5 and under are free. VIP tables are available. Check out CCW's Facebook page for more information, or you can call them at 812-402-1862. Also tonight, June 25th, at the Vincennes Eagles Lodge, Tri-State Wrestling hosts their biggest event of the summer, Night of Champions. Will Bray takes on Zach Hogan in an I Quit match for the TSW World Heavyweight Championship. There's a special start time for this event. That's at 5:30 Eastern Time. The doors open. At that time, 10 Count will be there doing a live podcast with several of the guys performing that evening. At 6:30, they have the TSW Hall of Fame ceremony, and then at 7, we kick off the show with the Jesse Meredith Memorial Battle Royal. July 9th, WWE Live is in Danville, Illinois on the SummerSlam Heatwave Tour. They'll be at the David S. Palmer Arena beginning at 7:30 Central Time. Superstars included to be there are Becky Lynch, Enzo and Cass, Bray Wyatt, Dean Ambrose, and more. Check out Ticketmaster or the WWE app for ticket information. July 14th, NXT Live is coming to Indianapolis at the Old National Center, 7:30 Eastern Time on that show. Names on the card include Asuka, Bayley, Shinsuke Nakamura, Finn Balor, and Samoa Joe. Again, check out Ticketmaster or the WWE app for more information. Saturday, July 16th, New Wave Pro Wrestling is at the Eagles Lodge in Clinton, Indiana. Newly crowned champion Blake Reed takes on Tank for the NWP Championship. Several other big names on the card for this one, including Sam Knight, Big T, Thomas Moore, and many others. Doors open at 4:30 Eastern Time with bell time at 5:30. Tickets are $7.50 in advance, $12.50 at the door. Check them out on Facebook for more information. August the 6th, United Wrestling Coalition in Georgetown, Illinois returns to the Homer Opera House at 101 North Main Street in Homer, Illinois for UWC Live. Show is $8 in advance, $10 at the door. Bell times at 7 p.m. Central Time. Saturday, August the 13th, Sam Knight's Massive Wrestling presents Uprising at the Vincennes University Green Activity Center. This is the inaugural event for the company, and they'll feature the first ever Dr. Isaiah Pops Watson Memorial Cup Tournament. Matches will be announced later for that one. Doors open at 6 for that show. Bell time is at 7 Eastern Time. Tickets are on sale now. Get them in advance for $5 or at the door for $10. Be sure to support your local indie promotions by checking them out on social media and their websites. You can also go out to their shows and help someone working the indie scene get a little bit closer to their dreams. Find all that information on our local indie promotions page at 10countblog.wordpress.com. Before we go, don't forget to subscribe on iTunes and SoundCloud. Go rate us. Help the world know about 10 Count Podcast and 10 Count Blog. Get us on the new and noteworthy list on iTunes. Also, don't forget to check us out on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You can find links to all of those on this article at 10countblog.wordpress.com. You can also check out our social media and podcast page and find them there. We're always accepting blog submissions. If you want to write something about wrestling, send it to us, 10countblog@gmail.com. It can be about any topic you choose as long as it's related to wrestling. Thanks to Rollick for allowing us to use Snorkeling into Oblivion as our theme song. Check them out on Facebook and download their music for free. Be sure to check out the Rollick Frolic today, June 25th, at the Vincennes Riverfront Pavilion. Don't forget to visit us at 10countblog.wordpress.com. Subscribe on iTunes and SoundCloud and rate us. Seriously, it takes about 5 minutes and it's the best way to support us. We'll be back next week with a guest to be announced a little bit later on. Until then, thanks for listening to the 10 Count Podcast.